Good morning to you all. My name is Omeje Ilemona Sunday. I am a third-year PhD student at the laboratory Hubert Curien in the University of Germany, Saint-Etienne. I am here to present part of my PhD project titled Multiscale Simulation of Laser Texture Surface Wettability towards understanding the role of surface oxidation and molecular adsorption. Okay, in the course to walk you through this presentation, I'll be taking you through from the introduction of the project down to the summary and conclusion. The application of laser-induced nanostructure is quite interesting and intriguing. For example, laser-induced periodic surface structure can be used in structural colors and optical marking, and also biomimetic hierarchical structure can amplify the osseointegration process in dental and orthopedic implants and other interesting applications. However, the wettability of laser texture surfaces changes over time, and it changes over time under ambient condition, and it changes from super hydrophilic to super hydrophobic states. And the reason for these changes is not known. And several experimental results have tried to explain the reason for this. And lastly, the existing wetting models, such as the Wenzi and the Castebasta model, it's difficult to account for the wetting mechanism. So in this project, we want to address some of these challenges in order to give a perspective and understanding to how the wettability of a laser texture surface changes over time. So it will be quite interesting to know why why we need simulation. In most cases, experiment is expensive and time consuming, and it's quite blind and too many parameters to control. But with the aid of a simulation, we could save time and reduce costs, and we could replace some experiment and also explain and understand some experimental phenomenon. So the objective of this project is we want to develop a more realistic wettability model accounting for the change in surface structure and wettability, and also to understand the chemical surface alteration, such as oxidation or molecular adsorption, which could give a kind of an insight to the wettability of laser textured surface. So to develop a wettability model that could account for these changes, we started with a computational fluid dynamics approach where we solve the Navier-Stokes equation coupled with the level set method to track the interface of the liquid between the air, the material, due to the change in surface tension. And we discretize this equation in COMSOL multiphysics. And we carried out a model validation by doing simulation of water droplets on glass, and we compare with different experimental results. And as you can see from the first experimental result, you could see that the snapshots of the droplets at different time scales correspond with that of the experiment. And we went on to carry out what we call the spreading parameter, that is the maximum spreading of the liquid on glass divided by the initial diameter of the fluid. And as you can see, the spreading parameter of our simulation correspond with that of the experiment. So with that gave us some kind of infantry to mimic some hierarchical structure that could be created by a femtosecond laser. And sorry. So we carry out our wetting study on superarcing titanium mylar material fabricated by femtosecond laser. So this material is quite interesting in dental implant. So what we did is we create a triangular relief on the material and a kind of an hierarchical relief on the material, and we carry out the wetting test on the plain titanium surface, the triangular titanium surface, and the hierarchical titanium surface. And you can see the plot of the spreading parameter. So the spreading parameter for the plain titanium surface is quite higher, but when we introduce some relief, you see the spreading parameter reduces, and this could be quite interesting in the spread and in pigment of cell on this titanium surface. And to also understand the chemical alteration on the surface of the material, which is the most difficult part of the project. So we started by using a molecular dynamics approach using the LAMP software, which is the Large Atomic Molecular Massive Parallel Simulator. And what this LAMP does is to actually solve the Newton's equations of interacting system by calculating the force between the interacting particle and the potential energy using the interatomic potential. And we utilize the reactive force field, which is quite interesting for accounting for breaking and formation of bond using bond order from interatomic potential. So first of all, we started by carrying out oxidation of titanium to understand how oxidation on this material behave. So I wouldn't go much into the details of this because it's still a work in progress, and our results are yet to be published. So what we did is to carry out oxidation on titanium, and you could see our system. Our system is on titanium with a rotation of 0.01 with 300 oxygen, as you can see in red, and 1,280 atoms of titanium with a total number of atoms of 1,580. So we try to relax the system in order to mimic a kind of an ideal system, and you could see the graph of the relaxed surface. So we went on to simulate the oxidation at room temperature. So, and as you can see at room temperature, it is quite obvious that what we saw, we didn't observe some oxidation, which is quite normal at room temperature. What we observed was adsorption of the oxygen atom on the titanium, and so we move on to increase the temperature of the surrounding to see if there will be oxidation. So and we got some interesting results which I wouldn't share here. Maybe in the next Manutech-SLEIGHT I will share them. And so what we could take home from this presentation is that triangular surface relief alone are probably not well suitable for the increase in wettability properties, but rather two periodic structures will help in capturing the effect of wettability, which is quite promising, and also the chemical surface alteration, such as molecular adsorption, occur at room temperature, but at higher temperature we observe a different phenomenon entirely, which the result will be shared later in the next Manutech-SLEIGHT. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I still remain Omeje Ilemona.